وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا جاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى وربطنا على قلوبهم إذ قاموا فقالوا ربنا رب السماوات والأرض لن ندعو في دونه إلها لقد قلنا هؤلاء قومنا اتخذوا من دونه آلهة لولا يأتون عليهم بسلطان بين فمن أظلم ممن أفترى على الله كذبا وإذ اعتزلتموهم وما يعبدون إلا الله فأووا إلى الكهف ينشر لكم ربكم من رحمته ويهيئ لكم من أمركم مرفقا وترى الشمس إذا طلعت تزاوروا عن كهفهم ذات اليمين وإذا غربت تقرضوهم ذات الشمال وهم في فجوة من ذلك من آيات الله من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وتحسبوهم أيقاظا وهم رقود ونقبلهم ذات اليمين وذات الشمال وقلبهم باسط ذراعيه بالوسيط لو اطلعت عليهم لو وليت منهم فرارا وكذلك بعثناهم ليتساءلوا بينهم قال قائل منهم كم لبثتم قالوا لبثنا يوما أو بعد يوم قالوا ربكم ما لبثتم فأبعثوا أحدكم بورقكم هذه إلى المدينة فلينظر أيها الأزكى طعاما فليأتيكم برزق منه وليتلطف ولا يشعرن بكم أحدا إنهم إن يظهروا عليكم يرجموكم أو يعيدوكم في ملتهم ولن تفلحوا إذا أبدا وكذلك أعثرنا عليهم ليعلمون أن وعد الله حق وأن الساعة لا ريب فيها إذ يتنازعون بينهم أمرهم فقالوا أبنوا عليهم بنيانا ربهم أعلم بهم قال الذين غلبوا على أمرهم لنتخذن عليهم مسجدا سيقولون ثلاثة رابعهم كلبهم ويقولون خمسة سادسهم ويقولون سبعة وثامنهم كلبهم قل ربي أعلم بعدتهم ما يعلمهم إلا قليل فلا تمار فيهم إلا مراء ظاهرا ولا تستفت فيهم منهم أحدا ولا تقولن لشيء إني فاعل ذلك غدا إلا أن يشاء الله واذكر ربك إذا نسيت وقل عسى أن يهديني ربي لأقرب من هذا رشدا ولبثوا في كهفهم ثلاث وازدادوا 9 قل الله أعلم بما لبثوا له غيب السماوات والأرض أبصر به وأسمع ما لهم من دونه ومن ولي ولا يشرك في حكمه أحدا واتلو ما أوحي إليك من كتاب ربك لا مبدل لكلمات ولن تجد من دونه واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشاء يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عينيك عنهم تريدون زينة الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا وقل الحق من ربكم فمن شاء يؤمن من يشاء فليكفر إن اعتدنا للظالمين نارا وأحاط بهم سرادقها أن يستغيثوا يغاثوا بماء كالمهل بئس الشراب وساءت مرتفقا إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات إنا لا نضيع أجر من أحسن عملا أولئك لهم تحتهم أنهار يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ويلبسون ثيابا خضرا من سندس واستبرق فيها على الأرائك نعم الثواب وحسنت مرتفقا واضرب لهم مثلا رجلين جعلنا لأحدهما جنتين من أعناب وحففناهما بالنخل وجعلنا بينهما زرعا كلتا الجنتين آتت أكلها ولم تظلم منه شيئا وفجرنا خلالهم نهرا وكان له ثمر فقال لصاحبه وهو يحاوره أنا أكثر منك ومالا وعز نفرا ودخل جنته وهو ظالم لنفسه قال ما أظن أن تبيد أبدا وما أظن الساعة قائمة ولئن رددت إلى ربي لأجدن خيرا من انقلب. قال له صاحبه وهو يحاول أكفرت بالذي خلقك نطفة ثم سواك رجلا لكن هو الله ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا. ولولا إذ دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله إن ترني أنا أقل منك مالا وولدا فعسى ربي أن يؤتينا خيرا من جنتك ويرسل عليها حسبانا من السماء فتصبح صعيدا زلقا أو يصبح ماؤها غورا فلن تستطيع له طلبا. وأحيط بثمره فأصبح يقلب كفيه على ما أنفق فيها وهي خاوية على عروشها ويقول يا ليتني لم أشرك بربي أحدا. ينصرونه من دون الله وما كان منتصرا. هنالك آية لله الحق هو خير ثوابا وخير عقبا. واضربوا لهم مثل الحياة الدنيا كماء إن أنزلناه من السماء واختلط به نبات الأرض فأصبح هشيما نذر الرياح وكان الله على كل شيء مقتدرا. المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا والباقيات الصالحات خير من عند ربك ثوابه خير أملا. ويوم نسير الجبال وترى الأرض بارزة وحشرناهم فلم نغادر منهم أحدا. وعارضوا على ربك صفا لقد جئتمونا كما خلقناكم أول مرة على لكم موعدا. ووضع الكتاب فترى المجرمين مشفقين مما فيه ويقولون يا ويلتنا ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرا ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها ووجدوا ما عملوا حاضرا ولا يظلم ربك أحدا. وإذ قلنا للملائكة أسجدوا لآدم فاسجدوا إلا إبليس كان من الجن وإبليس كان من الجن ففسق عن أمر ربه أفتتخذون وذريته أولياء من دوني وهم لكم عدو بئس للظالمين بدلا. ما أشهدتهم خلق السماوات والأرض وخلق أنفسهم ما كنت متخذ المضلين عددا. ويوم يقول نادوا شركاء الذين زعمتم فادعوهم فلم يستجيبوا لهم وجعلنا بينهم موبقا. وراء المجرمون النار فظنوا أنهم مواقعوها ولم يجيدوا عنها مصرفا. ولقد صرفنا في هذا القرآن للناس من كل مثل وكان الإنسان أكثر شيء جدلا وما منع الناس أن يؤمنوا إذ جاءهم الهدى ويستغفره ربهم إلا أن تأتيهم سنة الأولين أو أو يأتيهم العذاب القبلى وما نرسل المرسلين إلا مبشرين ومنذرين يجادل الذين كفروا بالباطل ويدحدوا به الحق واتخذوا آياتي ما أنذروا هزوا ومن أظلم ممن ذكر ربا بآيات ربه فأعرض عنها ونسي ما قدمت يداه إنا جعلنا على قلوبهم أكنة أن يفقهوا وفي آذانهم إلى الهدى فلن يهتدوا إلا إذا أبدا وربك الغفور يؤاخذوهم بما كسبوا عجل لهم العذاب بل لهم موعد لن يجدوا من دونه موئلا وتلك القرى أهلكناهم لما ظلموا وجعلنا لمهلكهم موعدا وإذ قال موسى لفتاه لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين أو أمضي حقبا فلما بلغ مجمع بينهما نسي حوتهما فاتخذ سبيله في البحر سربا لفتاه آتنا غداءنا لقد لقينا من سفرنا هذا نصبا قال أرأيت إذ أوينا إلى الصخرة فأني نسيت الحوت وما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان أن أذكره وتعجب قال ذلك ما كنا نبغ فارتد على آثارهم قصصا فوجد عبدا من عبادنا آتيناه رحمة من عندنا وعلمناه من لدنا علما قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا قال ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا قال فإن اتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرا فانطلق حتى إذا ركب في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لنغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا فانطلق حتى إذ لقينا غلاما فقتلا قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعد فلن تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدنها عذرا
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا gracious, the merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the universe, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness and testimony to the oneness of Allah, to His magnificence, His omnipotence, His might, His glory, to His being the creator and sustainer of all things, the giver of life, the guider of hearts, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness to the fact that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his servant and final messenger. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him and upon all those who choose to tread in his path until the last day. It is said, when Adam alayhi salam was created by Allah Azza wa Jal, he was fashioned from the many pieces of earth and dirt that make up this dunya. And as Adam alayhi salam is created and molded into an actual form, and spirit is blown into him, it causes him to sneeze. The very first word that comes out of our father Adam, peace be upon him, his mouth, is alhamdulillah. All praises to Allah. And we see a consistency in the utilization of gratitude, praise, thankfulness, tradition. That you can open up the Mus'haf and literally the very first word of the very first chapter in that book is alhamdulillah. All praises to the divine, all praises to Allah. And to think and reflect upon how, in fact, Adam's first word, the first word of the Quran, and even inside insight is given to us that after the reckoning, after the accounting on the day of judgment, may Allah make it easy for us. When everything and anyone in creation is brought forth and everything is being said and done, the words will come from creation even to that extent. As everything closes, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that all praises to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Its function is beyond just conversation, but needs deliberate application within the course of our days. And to not just see thankfulness and gratitude as something that is a vehicle for superficial exchanges, but has a deepening effect upon our spirituality and our overt wellness. Is seen praying into the late hours of the night with his blessed feet swelling and the tears dripping from his face, and his wife asks, is he not forgiven? You are Masoom. And his response is, أَفَلَا أَكُونُ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا, that should I not be a grateful servant? And not as a tangent, but as interesting to be able to understand that when the Prophet's wife, radiallahu ta'ala anha, asks and inquires about his tears and his need for prayer, and puts it hand in hand with this notion of him being innocent, masoom, saying, why are you crying if you're already forgiving? Meaning that the only time that one should cry is in pursuit of tawbah or repentance, that your tears will only come to your eyes when you are feeling remorseful. But in our tradition, it's not like that. There's not dhunub, it's not dhulm that comes from your hand that you recognize with a sense of, I want to be drawn towards something better, that can then elevate you to a place where your tears start to wet your eyes. But also when you feel content and you feel good, and the Prophet reiterates this and says that I'm not doing it because I feel bad about something that I've done. The tears are coming because I feel elated by what it is that I've been given. Fundamentally in this conversation is one that we reflect upon our role in our relationship with the divine. That last week when I spoke about the need for us to be God-centric and said that this world challenges the notion that it makes sense to live a God-centric worldview, people said to me after the fact, what does that mean? How do we identify it? How do we construct it? How do we live by it? What is the basis of that? These individuals were people who not only identified a relationship with Allah, but the basis of that relationship was rooted in a positive value. It wasn't fear, intimidation, trepidation, but the Prophet is saying to his wife that I'm standing with my God because I'm thankful for it. Adam alayhi salam, when he speaks for the first time, speaks in his first word, all praises to God. If it wasn't an important concept, why would Allah make it the very first word in his book that we read over and over and over and over again? But if you were to break it down into the parameters of a relationship, you would see that your relation to Allah is you and Allah. These are the two entities, the beings, that are bridged by some type of engagement or interaction. And in being able to understand and reflect upon the other end of that relationship, a pathway through it is to be able to recognize and reflect upon who it is that you and I are ourselves. That when we say over and over and over, usually at the time of somebody's passing, and may Allah make the best of our deeds the last of our deeds. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, that it is indeed that we came from Allah and we are for Allah, and to Him is our return. That we came from a place and we go to a place, and the pursuit of what it is that we are in search of is not just things that are finite or limited to this dunya, but there's something that's bigger that's there. But to be able to break down who it is that we are necessitates knowing us at our most fundamental level so that we can in turn know who Allah is to us. You want to have a God-centric worldview, you got to know God. And when we are in a month where we're trying to get closer to the Prophet of God, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're going to hear people say over and over and over again to a point where it can become mechanical, and you don't want it to be mechanical. You want to listen from your heart, not from your ears. To be able to love the Prophet of God, you have to know the Prophet of God. So too, that construct is applicable to God. In order to love anything, you got to know it first. And able to know Allah, it requires you to really know yourself. In Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah Azza wa Jal speaks about you and I being sent to this world, as He's talking to His angels, إِنِّي جَعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً, that I have sent upon the earth a khalifa, a representative, a vicegerent, a steward, however you want to identify it. You and I were made to be a representative of the divine as a caretaker of this dunya. May Allah make us from amongst those who recognize and live our purpose. And the angels, they respond back. قَالُوا وَتَجَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ. That they respond, why are you going to send somebody onto that earth that creates fasad and creates bloodshed? The word fasad in and of itself, if you pick up any Arabic English dictionary, goes not through just one term of wrongness, but within the word fasad, you have the ability to recognize a lot of different things that are problematic. Then in Arabic, when food is spoiled, it's described through this word fasad. Corruption is fasad. So many different things are talked about in the framework of fasad. And in fasad, you have the gamut of things that are problematic. And then when it speaks about bloodshed, it speaks about it in a very specific frame. But the Mufassirin, when they talk about these two qualities stemming from this verse, when Allah is speaking to His angels, and His angels are asking, why are you going to send those who cause that corruption and cause bloodshed? The Mufassirin say that it gives insight into two of the fundamental blocks that make you and I into humans. That facade is attached to essentially appetites of humanity. That the yielding of that sense of wickedness, that corruption, that intolerance, that hate, that racism, that bigotry, everything that's spoiled, all-encompassing facade, is when a human can't create or control its appetite. And then that bloodshed that's talked about is not a bloodshed that's rooted in somebody losing their ability to be sane or in a lack of control of their mental faculties. But the Mufassirin, they say that that bloodshed that's being talked about when Allah is speaking to His angels gives indication to a second fundamental block of humans, that is our emotions. And then just like when you can't control your appetite, it leads to facade. When a human can't control its emotional sense of self, it leads to bloodshed. But you don't have people who really sit down. May Allah protect us from ever becoming this. And it's not to be facetious in any way. But with a sound sense of mind, with a sound sense of being, say, I think today I'm going to hit one of my children. I think today I'm going to strike my spouse. It comes from a place where the ability to control that emotional self becomes one that's just not there. But two of the foundational blocks that make you and I who it is that we are. We are people who have a yearning of desire. We have appetites. We have emotions that can control us, or we can be in control of them. But then as Allah continues on in describing to His angels what it is that makes us human, He says, indeed, I know that which you do not know. And then the verse, it continues, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا, that He taught Adam the names of everything. capacity for us as humans to be in a space where we can control appetites and emotions stems into this third frame of what makes us essentially human. That's the ability to know and have knowledge. To have capacity of intellect, to be in a place where we are distinct from the rest of creation. And that knowing is what it is that enables us to recognize our fullest of potential. And through that pathway of knowledge and knowing ourselves, we in turn create a vehicle for knowing Allah and living in a capacity that enables us to live by what it is that He has set forth for us. But where we stumble and we struggle is that the other two blocks always take precedence. Emotions run rampant. Appetites are always in control. We're the only from amongst God's creation that when our stomachs are full, we keep feeding ourselves. We keep feeding ourselves. We're in a space where, unlike the rest of creation, we will kill and maim and shoot and murder, not in a mode of defense, not for our basic survival and needs. You never hear about a lion that engages in predatory behavior and just massacres entire flocks of gazelles for the fun of it. But when it needs to eat, it eats, and then it leaves things behind. Can we have everyone please move up and come close? You can fill in all the spots. There's a lot more people that are going to be coming in. And so the obstruction in that pathway, of whatever it is you want to call it, mindfulness, consciousness, enlightenment, that is not rooted in condescension, but that allows and enables us to get to a space where we start to put away the hurdles and obstacles that keep us from living the way that we are meant to live, man. It can be seen in whether or not I'm just giving in and letting that appetite control me, and letting that emotion control me, and using it as always a justification for my deeds, my actions, my decisions. Imam Ghazali, rahimahullah, he writes in a beautiful text about the breaking of two desires. And he speaks about the need to control the stomach and to control the sexual organs. But again, it goes back to just appetite and emotion, appetite and emotion. And the way to curb it is to recognize the need for that knowledge, to make deliberate pursuit of something that enhances parts of yourself, that give you skills, understanding, contemplative, reflective, critical insight beyond just the tools that are given to acquire food and drink and sex, living to the potential of what it is that makes us human. So that that inner sense of fulfillment and contentment gives us whatever it is that we need, regardless of how heavy things get. We live in a world right now, man, where in the last week, a black man who was a security guard that sought to defend people in a store was murdered by law enforcement who, when they came into the store, shot him despite the fact that he was the one that protected everybody else. Can you think about that? Can you think about where it is that the facade has gone to? The corruption. The absence of beauty that's meant to stem from our hands. That not only that took place, but there's probably not going to be consequences to it. And someone would say, well, what is it that you and I could do? Even if we couldn't do anything directly, could stand up in the late hours of the night and make dua for that man and likely the family members that he had who are in turmoil and toil at the way his life was unjustly taken. But it's the distinction between egocentricity and living a God-centric worldview. When you think about and recognize some of what it is that's out there,
and says how you and I can live to a potential that does not yield to a submission of the material, but allows for us to walk on this earth in the way that we are meant to.
In pursuit of a relationship with the divine that allows for us to move forward in understanding there's a lot more way to go beyond this world. How do you know who Allah is to you? How do you engage in conversations, reflections, understandings, and spending time with the divine? When you read hadith about companions whose faces would go pale as they stood in front of God in prayer, and people would ask them why. Beyond what it is that brought them to that place, they believed affirmatively that their prostration was a prostration to a divine being and entity. When you lay your head down to the ground, your forehead is down on the ground in sujood. Who is it that you are prostrating to? And it's fundamental and foundational, not meant to be self-deprecating, but a need to be consistent with it. Because the hadith says, your iman, your faith is like a pendulum, man. It's going to go up and down and up and down. That's normal. Even the angels, when they are talking to God, and Allah is telling them about creating you and I and sending us down on this place, they ask the question, why are you doing that? These are creatures of light that are made to only obey God. They're asking God. There's nothing wrong with you asking questions. Even the angels do it. But you can't be afraid of the answer. And sometimes the answer is going to tell you that, you know what you're doing, it is not fitting into that prism of what Allah wants you to do. The need is to not then retreat back into a place of justification, nor is it to retreat to a place of despair. Because Maulana Rumi, he says, Rahimahullah, come, whoever you are. Ours is not a caravan of despair. We are meant to be the representatives of the divine that make the 70 excuses for the other before we look for any type of flaw or fallacy. To not engage just in the discourse that is of externals, but to see the relationship of the internal with the external and bring everything back to God. And it can be hard. It can be so hard. Because everything pulls us in different directions. The starting point is to allow for us to really build relationships with beliefs, convictions, thoughts, ideals, spending time and understanding who is Allah to me, what is it that I conceive Him to be. The most fundamental verse in our book, our Quran, that defines and describes Allah to us as a starting point, I would say is لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ, that there is nothing that is like even a likeness to Him. And that's not to say that, well, where do I even begin? But to take what it is that you taste of this world, love that you have with your brothers and sisters, compassion that you feel from your significant other, being in a place where you look out into there and you see beauty at times just from the sun rising and setting, the gentleness of the breeze of the wind, looking at the illumination of the skies, real skies, man, not skies like our city, which has its own beauty, but you go into a desert, you go into a place where there is no other light other than the light of the stars that Allah has created, and you allow for your heart to look at it, and then you think for a minute, where did those come from? And let it be the vehicle through which you start to understand the majesty and the magnitude of the divine. You sit and you think and you reflect upon what this world really means to you. And I'm going to say it to you and say it to me, but with a place of trying to understand how it fits into my existence. Do you believe that there's a world beyond this one? Do you believe in the temporariness, the finiteness of this dunya, and the decisions that make you decide how it is that you will be in the wakeful moments of these days? I have a 3-year-old son. 5.5-year-old daughter. They're the greatest blessings in my life. Make dua for them that Allah gives them only the best in this world and the best in the next, and makes me a good father to them and a good husband to my wife. My son, my daughter, they're really interesting people. But one of the things that I like to do, like many people like to do for some reason when they have kids, is throw my kids up and down in the air. My daughter, who is getting bigger, she engages it a little bit differently, but she hasn't changed so much from when she was a child in terms of her reactions to it, nor has my son. And when I hold them in my hands, there's such an elation on their face, because they know I love them, and I know that they love me. But also when I'm holding them, they know that I would never let anything hurt them. And in those seconds where we're getting ready for me to toss them in the air, the smile is still there. There's still a lot of glimmer in their eyes. When I rev up and throw them as high as I can, that moment when they reach the highest point of it, even though it's seconds, the smile just goes away. There's a feeling of helplessness. And then they land back in my hands, and the smile is there. That's how we relate to Allah in the dunya. You just got to remember who's holding you. And in those few seconds that is our time in this world, that it seems sometimes overwhelming and helpless, just know you're going to go back to Him. And He's watching over you, not just watching you. And wherever it might feel like you're alone or it's hurting, you got to fit into boxes of a racist, supremacist, patriarchal, capitalistic world that tells you your worth is just on degrees and credentials, how many zeros come after the $sign on the check that you cash. Know that you come from Allah and your return is to Allah. And even if you don't know that He's holding you, He's holding you, watching over you, simply wanting what's best for you. And in our return to Him and where our point of origin was, just like my child who's hanging in that air for what to them feels like a long time, it's just seconds in this dunya, man. Don't make it your priority, but let the priority be the creator of this place. And if you and I want to know the best way to navigate this earthly arena, we should take our insights from the one who made it and yield in that God-centric worldview. There's going to be some things Allah asks us to do that we really love to do. Some things Allah asks us to do that really hard for us to do. And some things Allah asks us to do that we don't even know why we need to do it. But we put our trust in Him. And we understand who it is that's holding us. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Just get back up. If you see somebody make a mistake, don't be the reason that pushes them down further. But live that role of being a representative of the divine. And allow for yourself each and every day to do what you need to draw closer to whatever understanding and recognition of His presence in your life that you can. So that we then embrace the fact that it's okay for us to be different and do it differently. Because we know that there's something much bigger and much greater that's in store for all of us. It might mean living here a little bit different, but that's okay. The payoff is going to come in multiples beyond here. Jumma, take some time to just sit and think, who is Allah to you? If you are somebody who considers yourself to be quote-unquote religious, then know that a religious person would never make somebody feel as if they are not religious. And if you take on that character and quality, then understand that the giving of our tradition is not just simply in the mechanics of things, but how do you represent the mercy of God, the love of God, the justice of God, exemplify God to have hope. And you walk with an air of simplicity, an air of peace through this world. And with every breath you're taking, you're thinking and recognizing and remembering the being that put us here and the one that we will go back to. And all he wants from us is for us to try our best. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. A few announcements before we make dua. Tonight, inshallah, Sheikh Sahib Webb is going to be doing a community lecture open to everyone, free, as an intro to a text on spirituality, written by a great spiritual master in our tradition, Sidi Ahmed Zarruq. It's called Path to God. Please do come. It'll be at 7 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow there's a seminar that does have a fee, but we also aren't turning people away for a lack of funds. That'll be from 10 to 4. It's going to go more in depth into the text. It's a text on spirituality, but it's essentially teaching us how to take care of our inner selves and the importance of our heart. Please do come. A lot of people have asked if they can bring their children. You can definitely bring your children. We'd love to have anyone that you would like to have come. If you need more questions on that, please let me know. There's a sister in the community who's available to be a full-time nanny, as well as helping out with household chores, cooking, etc. If you are looking for someone or know someone who is looking for someone, please let us know. She also has an ijazah in teaching Quran from the Furqan Institute and is just an amazing resource. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll put you in touch with her after, inshallah. We have our community lunch here today. For those who can stay after the Jumma prayer, please do stay and join us for lunch. We're going to be praying Asr as soon as it comes in. So if you're still here around that time, we'll call the Adhan and pray Asr as well. It's a little bit before 2:20. Next Tuesday, inshallah, on November 20th, we're going to be doing our annual Grand Mawlid. It's going to be from 6:30 to 9:30. It's a celebration of the birth, the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So encourage everyone to come if you can. It'll be in the building next door on the 10th floor, open to everyone. We're going to have special things also for children, families, etc. So please do join us. The sadaqah from today will be going to the IC, so whatever you can give, please do give, inshallah. We'll be appreciative of it. And lastly, we had a dua request for our sister Abida Khwaja, who's the mother of one of our alums and community members, Maryam Khwaja. She underwent an emergency open heart surgery this past week and is currently recovering in the hospital. Please make dua that Allah grants her a quick and easy recovery, complete shifa, and makes this a means of purification in this world and a means of elevation in the next. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وفي الآخرين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. We begin this supplication in your name, Ya Allah, and beseech you to send your choicest salutations upon your most beloved, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. We ask that you shower your infinite mercy upon this gathering, granting each and every one who is present herein and our loved ones only the best in this world and the best in the next. We ask, Ya Allah, that if all of us are meant to be together only at this time, at this place, whether we are young or old, male or female, regardless of our race, our ethnicity, our social class, our country of origin, our cultural heritage, whether we are Muslim or come from a different walk of life, Ya Rabbi, if our individual hearts are meant to be in the presence of all of their hearts that are gathered here, only at this time, at this place, gather us all together again in the best of places in the world beyond this one. We ask, Ya Allah, by the barakah of this blessed day of Jumma, that you make us from amongst those who recognize your divine presence in our lives. Make us from amongst those who know you, Ya Allah, and through our knowing of you, make us from amongst those who seek to live for your sake and your sake alone. Help us to be from amongst those who serve as reminders of your existence, reminders of your mercy, reminders of your love, reminders of your compassion. And forgive us when we forget or make mistakes. Elevate us, Ya Allah, to be from amongst those who fulfill our purpose, to be from amongst the khulafa that you have sent to be caretakers of this world. Through us, Ya Allah, feed your creation. Through us, Ya Allah, clothe your creation. Through us, Ya Allah, give shelter to your creation. Through us, Ya Allah, give strength to your creation. Through us, Ya Allah, give hope to your creation. Through us, Ya Allah, be merciful to your creation. Through us, Ya Allah, be generous to your creation. Through us, Ya Allah, love your creation. Help us to find a love for ourselves that enables us to go out and do all that we can each and every day that we are in this dunya. For those who find themselves in a place of conflict, constraint, tribulation of any kind, Ya Allah, we ask that you bring ease to their hearts. Make things easy for the people of Yemen, Ya Rab. Enable them to receive the aid and the assistance that they need. Young babies, boys and girls, stricken by starvation due to the tyranny and injustice of regimes who serve no interest other than their self-interest. Ya Allah, make it easy for them. Make things easy, Ya Rab, for our brothers and sisters in Palestine and the unjust occupation that is taking place there. And help us to always carry a light and a love for our brothers and sisters there, no matter how devastating the circumstances might seem. Make things easy for our brothers and sisters in Kashmir, our brothers and sisters in China, who right now are facing all types of inequity and injustice. And let us recognize the privilege and the blessings that you have afforded us here in this place to be a means of support for our brothers and sisters everywhere. Make things easy for our brothers and sisters in India and Pakistan and Afghanistan and Bangladesh, our brothers and sisters in Somalia, our brothers and sisters in Chad and Congo and throughout the Central African Republic. Make things easy for our brothers and sisters in Myanmar, our brothers and sisters who are refugees throughout this world, Syria and so many places. Make things easy for our brothers and sisters in this country that is plagued by racism, bigotry, classism. And help us to remember always that our brothers and sisters are not simply those who share faith with us, but those who share humanity with us. Let this blessed day of Jumma not end without us being a means of benefit for someone in your creation. And help us to live every day bolder and better than the day before, so that we can be the reason people have hope in this world and never the reason that people might dread it. Protect us always from hearts that are not humble, tongues that are not wise, and eyes that have forgotten how to cry. Forgive us for our shortcomings and guide and bless us all. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا